The grand wedding hall of the Shadow Moon Kingdom glowed beneath golden chandeliers, their warm light reflecting against polished marble floors and silver moon carvings that decorated every pillar. Nobles from different kingdoms had gathered for the most anticipated event of the year, the wedding of the feared King Zevian. Music filled the palace as servants moved swiftly between tables, carrying expensive wine and delicacies prepared for the occasion. Laughter and whispers floated through the air, but beneath the celebration, something about the atmosphere felt strangely heavy, as if the moon itself was silently watching. Outside the palace gates stood a woman dressed in a simple dark blue gown. Unlike the glamorous ladies entering the hall, she wore no jewelry, no crown, no symbol of wealth, yet her beauty made people look twice. Her long dark hair rested over trembling shoulders, and her fingers tightened around a wedding invitation that had already been folded and unfolded too many times. Luna Nyra stared at the card again, though the words had not changed since the first moment she saw them. You are invited to witness the sacred union of King Zevian and Lady Selene. The elegant silver letters felt cruel, sharp enough to cut directly into her heart. 3 years. It had been 3 long years since she last saw Zevian. 3 years since the man who once promised her forever vanished without explanation. 3 years since he walked away from her life, as though everything they shared meant nothing. Yet tonight, he was marrying another woman. Nyra felt the familiar ache spread through her chest. Her wolf stirred weakly inside her, carrying the pain she had buried but never truly healed from. She had spent countless nights asking herself the same questions. Why did he leave? Why did he abandon her without a word? Why was he marrying someone else after all the promises he made? She should leave. She knew she should. She should burn the invitation and never step foot inside this palace. But deep inside, one question burned too fiercely to ignore. She needed the truth, even if the truth destroyed her completely. Taking a slow breath, Nyra walked toward the gates. 2 guards stepped forward immediately, but one of them paused when he looked closely at her face. Recognition flashed in his eyes. Even after 3 years, everyone still remembered the woman once rumored to become Zevian's Luna. The guard hesitated before stepping aside and lowering his head respectfully. You may enter. Nyra nodded and walked forward. Each step into the palace felt heavier than the last. The music grew louder. The scent of roses and candle wax filled the air. Then she reached the grand hall entrance. The moment she stepped inside, her breath caught. At the altar stood Zevian. Tall, broad-shouldered, powerful. Dressed in black ceremonial robes embroidered with silver threads, he looked every bit the king people feared. Time had not softened him. If anything, he looked even colder, more dangerous, more untouchable than before. His sharp jawline, commanding posture, and silver eyes made him look like a ruler carved from ice and steel. Beside him stood the bride, Lady Selene. She was beautiful, elegant and graceful, with golden hair and a confident smile. Her gown shimmered like sunlight, and she looked every bit like the perfect queen. Nyra's heart cracked. Then something changed. As if sensing her presence, Zevian slowly turned. His silver eyes landed on her, and the world stopped. The mighty Alpha King froze. The priest stopped speaking mid-sentence. Conversations died instantly. Even the musicians lowered their instruments in confusion. Zevian stared at Nyra like he had seen a ghost. For the first time in years, his perfect control cracked. His breathing shifted. His jaw tightened. His fingers curled slightly at his sides. Selene noticed immediately. "Zevian?" she whispered. But he didn't answer, because in that moment he could see only one person, Nyra, the woman he had spent 3 years trying and failing to forget. Nyra held his gaze. Her eyes burned with pain, anger, confusion, and the love she hated herself for still carrying. Her chest tightened painfully as every memory returned at once. Moonlit nights, secret smiles, his promises, his touch, his voice whispering forever. Finally she spoke. Why? The single word echoed through the hall. Quiet, simple, but carrying 3 years of suffering. Zevian said nothing. Nyra swallowed hard and stepped forward. Why did you leave? She asked, louder this time. Her voice trembled despite her effort to stay composed. Why did you disappear without a word? Murmurs spread among the nobles. No one dared interrupt. No one dared breathe too loudly. Who is this woman? Nyra ignored her. Her eyes never left Zevian. Answer me. Zevian finally spoke, his voice cold enough to freeze the room. You should not have come. Nyra felt the words hit her like ice. That is not an answer. His expression hardened further. Leave, Nyra. Pain flashed across her face. No. The room grew tense. No one challenged Alpha King Zevian publicly. No one disobeyed his command. But Nyra had nothing left to lose. I deserve the truth, she said. For several seconds Zevian remained silent. Inside him chaos raged. His wolf clawed violently against his control, demanding he run to her, hold her, explain everything. But he forced himself to stay still. Then he said the cruelest thing possible. You want the truth? Nyra stared at him. The truth is, his silver eyes turned cold. You were never fit to stand beside me. The world shattered. Nyra's face drained of color. For a moment she stopped breathing. The entire hall gasped. Her lips trembled. You don't mean that. Zevian's voice remained merciless. I do. Nyra slowly shook her head. No. Yes. Her cry broke through the hall like shattered glass. Tears filled her eyes. You loved me, she whispered. Zevian's jaw tightened. That was my mistake. That sentence destroyed her. The tears she fought so hard to suppress finally fell. Not quiet tears, not graceful ones. These were the tears of someone watching her soul break apart in front of hundreds of people. You're lying, she whispered weakly. But even as she said it, something inside her cracked. Because deep down, she felt something strange. Pain. Not just her pain, his too. Why? Why did his cruelty feel forced? Why did his eyes look like they were hiding something? Nyra wiped her tears with shaking fingers and forced herself to stand straight. If he wanted to humiliate her before everyone, she would not beg. Not anymore. She stepped backward. Then again. Her voice became eerily calm. Fine. That single word unsettled Zevian more than her tears. Fine, she repeated. If that is truly how you feel, I will leave. Zevian's wolf roared inside him. Stop her. Don't let her go. But Zevian buried that voice. Nyra looked at him one final time. But one day, Alpha King Zevian, her voice shook. You will tell me why. Then she turned and walked toward the giant palace doors. Every step echoed through the silent hall. Zevian's entire body screamed to run after her, but he remained frozen. Because if he moved, everything would collapse. Nyra reached the doors. Then suddenly, pain exploded in her chest. She gasped. Her body froze. A strange silver light began glowing beneath her skin. The hall erupted in panic. What is happening? She's glowing. Nyra clutched her chest as unbearable power surged through her body like wildfire. Then she screamed, and silver light exploded. Silver light burst from Luna Nyra's body with such force that the entire palace shook. Chandeliers rattled violently overhead. Glasses shattered across banquet tables, and nobles screamed as they stumbled backward in terror. Moonlight poured through every window as if the sky itself had responded to her pain. Nyra fell to one knee. clutching her chest as raw power surged through every part of her body. Her breathing became uneven. Her hair lifted in the glowing wind surrounding her, and the silver light beneath her skin grew brighter and brighter until no one could look directly at her without shielding their eyes. Alpha King Zevian's eyes widened in horror. His entire body stiffened. His wolf went silent for one terrifying second before erupting into violent panic. He knew that power. Impossible. No, it couldn't be. Not her, not now, not after everything he had just said to her. Nyra cried out again as the silver energy exploded from her back. Then it happened. Two massive wings made of pure silver light burst outward behind her. The hall froze. No one moved. No one breathed. The sacred moon symbols carved into the palace walls suddenly lit up, glowing with ancient power. The floor trembled beneath everyone's feet. Even the strongest alphas in the hall dropped to one knee under the overwhelming pressure of her aura. The royal priest collapsed completely, trembling so badly he could barely speak. The Moon Queen. His voice shook with disbelief. The prophecy, it's real. Shock rippled through the crowd like wildfire. The Moon Queen? No. Impossible. She's the chosen one? Lady Selene stumbled backward, her face turning pale with terror. The arrogance that had filled her moments ago disappeared completely. Nyra slowly rose to her feet. She no longer looked like the broken woman who came seeking answers. She looked divine. Her eyes glowed bright silver, filled with ancient power. A crescent moon mark appeared on her forehead, radiant and beautiful. The air around her bent under the force of her presence. Every person in the hall could feel it. She was not just powerful, she was sacred. She was chosen. She was beyond them all. Zevian's heart stopped. The truth slammed into him with unbearable force. Nyra, his Nyra, the woman he loved, was the legendary Moon Queen, and he had just rejected her. Publicly, cruelly, he had broken the heart of the most sacred being in werewolf history. Nyra slowly turned her glowing eyes toward him. Pain still existed in her expression, but now it rested beneath something far greater. Power, dignity, authority. When she spoke, her voice carried an ancient echo, as though many voices spoke with hers. You rejected me. Every person trembled. The words vibrated through the hall. You rejected the one chosen by the moon itself. Zevian felt true fear for the first time in years. Not fear of battle, not fear of death, fear of loss, real loss. Nyra. For the first time that night, panic entered his voice. She raised one hand. He froze instantly. The air itself obeyed her. No. That single word cut deeper than any blade. You made your choice, Zevian. His breathing turned ragged. No, listen to me. I listened. Her silver eyes glowed brighter. I heard every word. The Alpha King felt something inside him breaking. The crowd remained bowed, unable to withstand her presence. Selene had completely collapsed to the floor, shaking and sobbing. Nyra took a step backward, as silver light swirled around her body. Zevian finally moved. Nyra! He rushed toward her, desperate, terrified, but too late. A wall of moonlight exploded between them. The impact threw him backward with brutal force. He crashed to the floor. His knees hit the marble. The Alpha King, the ruler who bowed to no one, on his knees, before her. Nyra looked down at him. Tears shimmered in her glowing eyes. I loved you. Her voice softened. That softness shattered him. I truly loved you. Zevian's chest burned. Every word felt like punishment. Then her expression changed. The pain became calm, painfully calm. But that version of me, her silver aura intensified, died tonight. Light engulfed her completely. Zevian reached toward her, desperate, broken. No, but she was already fading. Then her final words destroyed him completely. When you are ready to tell the truth, her voice echoed like moonlight itself. Find me. Then she vanished. Gone. Just like that. The silver light disappeared. Silence fell over the palace. No music, no voices, nothing. Zevian remained on his knees, staring at the empty space where she had stood. His breathing became uneven. The bond inside his chest screamed with unbearable pain. Because, for the first time in his life, Alpha King Zevian understood true terror. He had not lost a battle. He had not lost a kingdom. He had lost her. And deep inside, he knew one horrifying truth. If he didn't find Nyra soon, he might lose her forever. For several seconds, no one dared move. Then a trembling voice broke the silence. Zevian. Selene. Zevian slowly turned. The moment she saw his face, terror gripped her. His silver eyes no longer held cold control. They held fury, pure rage, deadly rage. Selene instinctively stepped backward. I didn't mean. Enough. His voice came out low, but it carried killing intent. The entire hall shook. Selene began trembling. I only did what we agreed. Guards! His roar thundered through the palace. Warriors rushed forward instantly. Take Lady Selene away. Selene froze. What? She laughed nervously, unable to believe what she heard. Zevian, stop joking. But his expression remained merciless. Take her. The guards hesitated. Selene was supposed to be queen. But no one disobeyed the Alpha King. 2 guards stepped toward her. Selene panicked. Zevian. She pulled away violently. You can't do this. Zevian rose slowly to his full height. He looked like death itself. I can. Selene's breathing became erratic. After everything I did for you. His eyes darkened. Everything you did? He took one slow step toward her. You mean the lies? Selene froze. The poison? Her lips parted. The threats? Gasps erupted across the hall. Poison? Threats? What was happening? Selene's voice weakened. Zevian, listen. No. His voice was ice. Now you listen. 3 years ago, the royal physician had discovered something horrifying inside Nyra's blood. Poison. Deadly. Slow-acting. Nearly impossible to detect. Without treatment, she would die within months. The investigation led to one terrifying truth. Selene's family. They had poisoned Nyra. And they had used that poison to trap Zevian. Selene's father gave him only 2 choices. Marry Selene, or watch Nyra die. Zevian searched desperately for another cure. There was none. To save Nyra, he accepted. He disappeared from her life, allowed her to hate him, because hatred was safer than death. But now, everything had collapsed. Selene broke. Because it worked, she screamed. She survived. The hall erupted. Confession. Open confession. Selene realized too late what she had said. Zevian's claws partially emerged. Every warrior stiffened. He looked seconds away from killing her. Selene fell to her knees, terror flooding her face as she realized there was no escaping what had just been revealed. Her carefully built composure shattered completely. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she looked up at Alpha King Zevian, hoping to find even a trace of the man she believed she could manipulate. But there was nothing there except fury. The cold, terrifying Alpha King, who had made kingdoms tremble, now looked at her as if she were nothing more than prey waiting to be judged. Please, Selene cried, crawling toward him. Please listen to me. I did it because I love you. Zevian's expression did not change. No, he said coldly. That was never love. Selene's breathing became uneven. I loved you for years. I watched you choose her over everyone, over me, over alliances, over power, over everything. Her voice rose into a desperate scream. What was I supposed to do? Watch while she took everything? Zevian stepped closer. The pressure of his aura became suffocating. You poisoned an innocent woman. You threatened her life. His voice dropped lower. You forced me to destroy the person I loved most. Each word landed like judgment. Selene broke into sobs. I didn't mean for it to go this far. But it did. Silence. Then Zevian looked toward the guards. Take her to the dungeon. Selene screamed. No, Zevian, please, don't do this. His final words ended everything. She will await judgment for treason against the Moon Queen. The guards dragged Selene away despite her desperate cries. Her screams echoed through the hall before fading into silence. No one moved. No one spoke. The wedding celebration had turned into a nightmare no one would ever forget. But Zevian no longer cared about the hall. He no longer cared about the guests. He no longer cared about appearances. Only one thing mattered. Nyra. He turned sharply toward his beta, Damon. Prepare my horse. Now? Zevian's silver eyes burned. Now, my king, where are you going? Zevian lifted his gaze toward the moon shining through the shattered palace windows. The damaged mate bond inside his chest throbbed with unbearable pain. Every second without Nyra felt wrong, empty, suffocating. Pain, regret, fear, love. Everything crashed inside him at once. Then he spoke. I'm going to bring my mate home. Damon hesitated. What about the kingdom? The kingdom can wait. His voice softened slightly, but the intensity remained. She cannot. Within minutes, the palace descended into chaos. Guests were dismissed. Nobles whispered in shock. News spread like wildfire through the kingdom. The wedding was over. The bride was imprisoned. The Moon Queen had awakened. And the Alpha King had ridden into the night. Mounted on his black warhorse, Zevian raced through the darkness beneath the silver moon. The wind tore through his robes as his wolf growled restlessly inside him. Find her. Now. That single instinct consumed him. He crossed forests, mountains, sacred lands, and frozen rivers. Days passed, then weeks. He barely slept, barely ate. Every village he visited had strange rumors. A woman with silver eyes, healing the sick. Moonlight appearing where no moon should reach. Crops revived overnight. Children cured of sickness. Wolves bowing to a mysterious woman in white. Each clue pointed north. Closer, but never close enough. The journey punished him physically, but his true suffering came at night. That was when the memories attacked without mercy. Nyra smiling under moonlight. Nyra laughing as she teased him. Nyra asleep with her head on his shoulder. Then the cruelest memory. Nyra crying in the wedding hall. His chest burned. He hated himself. No enemy had ever brought Alpha King Zevian to his knees, yet love had. After 21 exhausting days, he finally reached the northern sacred mountains. The air changed immediately. It felt ancient, holy. The very wind carried power. At the mountain summit stood a place spoken of only in myths, the Celestial Temple. Massive white stone pillars rose toward the heavens, glowing faintly beneath moonlight. Silver energy flowed across the temple floor like streams of liquid light. Even Zevian, one of the strongest alphas alive, felt humbled in its presence. Then he saw her. At the center of the sacred platform stood Luna Nyra. Alive, radiant, untouchable. She wore flowing white and silver robes that moved with the wind like moonlight itself. Her long dark hair shimmered with silver strands. The crescent moon mark on her forehead glowed softly. Power rolled off her in quiet waves, graceful yet impossible to ignore. She no longer looked like the broken woman from the wedding hall. She looked like a queen, a goddess, the Moon Queen. Zevian stopped breathing. After all his searching, he had finally found her. And for the first time in his life, Alpha King Zevian felt afraid. Not of battle, not of death, but of her answer. For several seconds, neither of them moved. The wind flowed through the temple, carrying silver light around Nyra like living mist. She looked almost unreal. Zevian had imagined this moment countless times during his search. He had prepared apologies, explanations, pleas. But now, standing before her, every word disappeared. Nyra spoke first. "You found me." Her voice was calm, too calm. That scared him more than anger. "Yes," he said, his throat painfully tight. Nyra slowly turned to face him fully. Her silver eyes rested on him without warmth or hatred, only distance. "You said you would come when you were ready to tell the truth." Zevian lowered his gaze briefly, then nodded. "I'm ready." Nyra studied him silently. "Then speak." That simple command nearly broke him. No accusations, no shouting, only truth, raw, unavoidable. Zevian inhaled deeply. 3 years ago, he began, I was called to a secret meeting with Selene's father. Nyra remained still. He showed me proof that you had been poisoned. Her expression changed, only slightly, but enough. The poison was slow-acting, nearly impossible to detect. The physicians said you had months left, maybe less. Nyra's breathing changed. Shock appeared in her eyes. Zevian's voice grew rough. I searched for another cure. Pain surfaced across his face. There was only one antidote. Nyra already understood. Her face slowly lost color. Zevian swallowed hard. They told me if I refused Selene, his voice cracked, the antidote would disappear. Nyra stared at him. Her lips parted. No. Nyra stared at Alpha King Zevian as though the world had stopped turning. Her lips trembled, but no words came out at first. The calm strength she had built around herself over the last few weeks cracked under the weight of his confession. The truth she had searched for during 3 painful years was finally standing before her, raw and undeniable. No, she whispered again, shaking her head slowly. No, Zevian. Zevian forced himself to continue, though every word felt like tearing open an old wound. I thought they were lying at first. I refused to believe it. I threatened them. I had every healer in the kingdom examine you in secret. I searched neighboring kingdoms for medicine. I tried everything. His breathing became heavier as the memories returned. There was no cure except the antidote Selene's family controlled. Nyra's eyes filled with tears. You let me believe you stopped loving me. Her voice broke. You let me believe I meant nothing to you. Zevian closed his eyes in pain. I know. You let me cry alone every night. I know. You let me hate myself. His voice cracked. I know. Nyra's tears fell freely now. Why didn't you tell me, she cried. Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me the truth? Zevian finally shouted, emotion breaking through his control for the first time. Because you would have sacrificed yourself. The temple echoed with his voice. Silence followed. His chest rose and fell heavily. If I told you the truth, he continued more softly, you would never allow me to choose you over your life. You would have given up everything, including me. Nyra froze, because deep down, she knew he was right. she would have done exactly that. Zevian stepped closer. I chose the only path that kept you alive. Another step. I became the villain in your story. Another. So you could live. Now only a few feet separated them. His silver eyes burned with regret and devotion. Not one day passed without loving you. Nyra's breathing trembled. Not one night passed without missing you. His voice broke completely. I loved you then. He slowly dropped to his knees. A mighty Alpha King, the ruler who bowed to no one, kneeling before the woman he loved. Not because of prophecy, not because of power, because of love, because of regret, because of truth. Nyra gasped. Zevian lowered his head. If you hate me, I accept it. Trembled. If you want to punish me, I accept it. His voice turned raw. But please. Tears finally fell from his eyes. The feared Alpha King cried. Please don't ever doubt this one truth. He lifted his gaze to her. I never stopped loving you. Those words shattered every wall around Nyra's heart. 3 years of pain. 3 years of anger. 3 years of heartbreak. All collapsed at once. She understood now. Why his cruelty felt forced. Why his eyes held pain even while rejecting her. Why something inside her never fully believed he stopped loving her. Because he hadn't. He had sacrificed himself and destroyed them both. Nyra covered her mouth as sobs escaped. Zevian remained kneeling, waiting, not demanding forgiveness, only waiting for judgment. Seconds felt like forever. Then, soft footsteps. Zevian felt warmth near him. Nyra stood directly before him, crying, shaking. Beautiful, broken, healing. She lowered herself to her knees, face to face with him. Then she raised trembling fingers and touched his face. The moment her skin met his, Zevian's wolf fell silent. Peace. After years of torment, peace. Her fingers brushed away his tears. Then she whispered words he never expected. You idiot. Zevian blinked. Nyra cried harder. You foolish, stubborn alpha. Then she hit his chest weakly. Once. Twice. Again. Each hit carried years of pain. Why didn't you trust me? Hit. Why did you carry everything alone? Hit. Why did you suffer without me? Hit. Zevian caught her wrists gently, then pulled her into his arms. Nyra broke completely. She collapsed against him, sobbing. He held her like a man holding his entire world. Desperate. Real. At last. I'm sorry, he whispered into her hair. Again and again, until the words became prayer. Nyra clutched his robes tightly. I hate you, she cried. Zevian closed his eyes. I know. She tightened her grip. I missed you. His breath caught. His arms tightened around her. I missed you too. The damaged mate bond between them began glowing softly. Silver light wrapped around both of them. Warm, gentle, healing. The broken bond slowly repaired, piece by piece, heart by heart, soul by soul. Suddenly, the celestial temple trembled. Ancient symbols lit across the floor. Silver flames rose from the pillars. Moonlight exploded around them. Nyra gasped. The crescent mark on her forehead glowed brilliantly. Then a voice filled the temple. Ancient. Powerful. Sacred. Not heard through ears, but through soul. The Moon Queen has chosen. Both froze. The voice continued. Her heart has forgiven. The flames intensified. The sacred bond is restored. The bond between them blazed with overwhelming light. Both cried out as the final broken piece sealed. Complete. Whole. unbreakable. A powerful wave of energy burst outward. The temple glowed brighter than daylight. Then the divine voice spoke once more. Rise together. The light slowly faded. Silence returned. Nyra stared at Zevian. The moon goddess, Zevian nodded slowly. She accepted us. After everything, they had been given another chance. A real one. Zevian rose first and helped Nyra stand, but he never let go of her hand. No more secrets, Nyra said quietly. Zevian nodded immediately. No more lies. Never again. No more sacrificing yourself alone. A small smile touched his lips. Agreed. Nyra looked at him. Then something softened in her expression. Her smile returned. Small. Beautiful. Zevian stared at it like sunrise after endless winter. Then he did something unexpected. He dropped to one knee again. Nyra blinked. Zevian? He reached into his robe and pulled out a small silver box. Nyra stopped breathing. Slowly, he opened it. Inside rested a breathtaking ring made of silver and moonstone. Her eyes widened. This ring, Zevian said softly, was meant for you 3 years ago. Nyra covered her mouth. I carried it every day. His voice trembled, hoping, praying, that I would one day get this moment back. His silver eyes locked onto hers. Luna Nyra, will you give me another chance? Tears streamed down her face. Will you be my mate? His voice softened. My queen, then finally, my wife? Nyra cried and laughed at the same time. This impossible alpha, this stubborn king, this foolish man she loved. He had broken her heart, and somehow he still held it. She nodded. Once, then again. Yes. Zevian froze, as if afraid he imagined it. Nyra laughed through tears. Yes, you idiot. He slid the ring onto her finger. Perfect fit, as though it had always belonged there. Because it had. Zevian rose instantly, then pulled Nyra into a kiss, not rushed, not desperate, deep, healing. A kiss filled with apology, longing, devotion, and promise. Nyra melted into him. Moonlight swirled around them, like blessing. Days later, they returned together to Shadow Moon Kingdom. News spread faster than wildfire. The Moon Queen had returned, and she had returned with Alpha King Zevian. The entire kingdom gathered in the royal courtyard. Warriors knelt. Nobles bowed. Citizens filled the palace grounds. This time, when Nyra walked through the palace gates, she did not walk as the abandoned woman seeking answers. She walked as queen. Her silver-white gown flowed behind her like moonlight. A crown of silver rested on her head. Power radiated from her, but so did grace. Beside her stood Zevian, proud and powerful, though his eyes softened every time they looked at her. At the top of the palace steps, the high priest raised the ceremonial crown. His voice echoed across the kingdom. Today we crown the chosen of the moon. Silence fell. With divine blessing, the crown lowered onto Nyra's head. We present Luna Nyra. The kingdom held its breath. Your moon queen. Thunderous cheers erupted. The entire kingdom bowed. Zevian turned toward Nyra. Their eyes met. 3 years of pain. 3 years of separation. All of it had led here. He leaned close and whispered words meant only for her. I once told you there would never be another woman beside me. Nyra smiled softly. Zevian touched her cheek. I was right. Tears shimmered in her eyes. Then, before the entire kingdom, Alpha King Zevian bowed his head to his queen. Not because prophecy demanded it, not because power forced it, but because love did. Nyra gently lifted his face. No more kneeling. A soft smile touched her lips. We stand together. Zevian smiled. The cold king, the feared alpha, smiling like a man who had finally found peace. He wrapped an arm around her waist and pulled her close. The crowd cheered louder. Moonlight shone over the kingdom. For the first time in years, everything felt right. Nyra rested against him and looked up at the moon. She had once lost everything, her love, her trust, her future. But fate had returned it all. Not perfectly, not without scars, but stronger. Because real love, she realized, was not about perfection. It was about choosing each other again, even after pain, even after betrayal, even after darkness. As Zevian kissed her forehead beneath the moonlight, Nyra smiled, because she knew one truth with absolute certainty. No matter what trials came next, they would face them together, as rulers, as equals, as soulmates, and this time, forever truly meant forever. Thank you for spending your time with Zevian and Nyra story. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and click the notification bell so you never miss our next emotional story. See you in the next one.